Hey there, hope you're doing good. Today we'll talk about how deep tech startups and products are different. Before we go there, let's understand what deep tech means. Technical feasibility is not a problem for most products, whether an e learning app, chat, notes, maybe a video sharing site, etc. All these use techniques that have been proven to work for years. The value is in the business, product, and UX, not in the tech. For example, we have under 1 hour grocery delivery nowadays. The value in that is getting the groceries quickly, not in the tech. It doesn't use any different technology. Most startups are like this. The tech is boring, straightforward. Often it's called a CRUD app, CRUD, which is basically an engineering term for an app that is technically trivial and boring and has been done hundreds of times for the past 20 years. Most startups are like this. Most products are like this. But there are some for which technical feasibility is unknown. These are called deep tech. Self driving cars are an example. Another more modest example is my earlier startup, FutureCam. You can take a photo and change its shutter speed after capture. You can capture a light rail video, and the thing on top is a metro. You can do light painting, see the silhouette effect we created, or time lapses, or capture a burst at high speed, 30 photos a second, which is higher than the iPhone's 10 photos per second. You have a zoom that has higher quality. This is how it looks like with the iPhone camera app, and this is how it looks like with FutureCam. We have a dark mode. Notice the curtain here. You can see the purple color of the curtain. You can see a few stars. One here, one here. Oh, and a dim one here. And another here. You can see the contrails from the jet diagonally to the top right. None of which you can see in the iPhone's version. There's more detail and less noise. See how the edge of this building got damaged in the iPhone camera app photo, but is crisp in the FutureCam one. You can remove crowds. So if the guy in blue is your friend and you're photographing him in front of a monument or some kind of public place, people are coming in the way, like the guy in yellow, who is me by the way, the guy in the background, gray shirt, etc. FutureCam detects and removes crowds, so you have just your friend. So all of these, right? This is an example of a deep tech app. So how is it different to work on deep tech as compared to shallow tech? First, unless you're an expert in the field, you need to budget years to learn it. When I started FutureCam, I was not an expert in image processing, neither professionally nor academically. So I learned image processing techniques on my own over time. And even after starting the startup, it took me 1 year. Like the entire startup ran for 3 years. If I have to break down the time, 1 year was for learning the tech. So budget lot of time towards that. In the startup world, there's a mantra, just do it, hustle, get it done by today. That bullshit doesn't work. You need lot of time to learn deep tech. Research is a significant and ongoing investment. It's R&D, not just D, not just development, research also. You should have someone playing the role of a researcher, reading papers, trying out algorithms, prototyping them, trying out competing products, testing them, benchmarking them under different situations, and so on. There are three reasons why you need a researcher in your team. One is skill, which everyone may not have. The second is the time. Doing all this takes time, and if someone also has to do regular development, it may not work out. The third is the mindset. It requires a more of exploratory mindset rather than a disciplined, let's just deliver it. Okay, I have 4 tasks this sprint, I need to finish all four mindset. Moving on. Predictability is low. You can spend months and a lot of money on efforts that don't work out. Like the fact that deep tech takes a lot of time and cost itself adds to the workload and the stress, but the predictability or lack of it makes it worse. Unlike shallow tech, where if you want to build an e commerce site or a to do list app, it will work out. The Inch team won't tell you after 3 months that it couldn't be done. It may take more time than estimated, but it will work out. So you need a lot of funding and a lot of patience. The typical startup style do it yesterday impatience doesn't work out. Moving on. The other challenge with deep tech is that not everything people want is feasible. Users will ask for whatever they want regardless of feasibility. And so will designers. They look at it from the user's point of view without taking into account technical limitations. This works for shallow tech where tech is rarely a limitation or feasibility is rarely a limitation. And whatever the designer comes up with or whoever the stakeholder is implementable. For example, if I come up with a site where an e-commerce site where you don't have a cart and you just buy each item independently and you buy it at MRP, there's no delivery charge. And the way the economics work out is instead of making a trip just to your house for the delivery, whenever he is nearby, he'll deliver it. He'll just leave it at your door if you're not in. He won't make multiple trips. Now, whatever you may think of this idea from a business point of view, if I come up with this idea, there's no reason the engineers can't implement it. But for deep tech, this doesn't work. The ideal design the designer has come up with may be infeasible and ultimately not useful. So we need to work at the intersection of user needs and feasibility. It's always possible to do something, feasible to do something, but users may not need it, they may not want it, there may be other apps that do it better. It may require too much work on the part of users. In the case of FutureCam, many of our algorithms require a tripod, which is an inconvenience. So it's easy to build something feasible that users don't want. It's also easy to daydream and say this is the ideal UX. If it is not implementable, you haven't achieved much. So you need to work at the intersection of both of these. Designers should still think from the user's point of view. That's their job, right? They're an advocate for the user. So that is good. They need to start idealistic. They shouldn't compromise right at the beginning. Let them design an ideal UX. Great. But then in the next step, when they have engineering discussions with the engineering team, they should be flexible when told that it's not feasible, rather than insisting on it, saying, I want this, I want this, I want this. So we should start ideal and end pragmatic. Not just on the part of designers, but in general as a philosophy. If you're starting a startup, start idealistically and then compromise if needed. Don't compromise right at the beginning. So anyway, these are some challenges with deep tech. One more challenge is the higher cost. It costs significantly more than running a shallow tech startup. You typically can't bootstrap it. You need to have a lot of funding, crores in the plural, at least millions of dollars. It is not one of these things where you start with a shoestring budget and you somehow make it work. You also need a higher quality of engineer here. With a shallow tech startup, you can hire whoever you find. Sure, the software will be buggy, it won't be extensible. After a while, you won't be able to add features. It will occasionally hang or crash. it would not be scalable. If enough users log in at the same time, it will not work. There's a chance of data loss. But if you're okay with mediocre quality, you can still get it to work with a shallow tech product, which is what most startups do at a very early stage. Low budget, small team, medium quality, mediocre quality. That option is ruled out with deep tech. You need the minimum investment is higher. If you'd like me to help you think through these trade offs, whether you're running a deep tech or a shallow tech product, my consulting link is in the description. Thank you.